Eye out on the rupee. It is at the strongest point in today's trading session, at the highest level as against the US dollar. Interestingly, even the IT stocks, they're moving higher. That is counterintuitive, given Infosys at the high point of the day up about 5.5% in the last three trading sessions. Also, what's interesting is that, the stock has corrected about 20% from the record, so maybe some value buying out there.
Mangalam, just wanted to point out some of these steel stocks. The last time what happened was when there was some trouble, this government has been very, very proactive and they've been really taking care of the steel industry in particular. Now the street is wondering whether or not there can be some additional protection that will come in there, because we're bracing ourselves for a steel price cut in the first week of December. And some of these smaller stocks, they have got absolutely smashed. They're nearly half of what they were trading at a few months ago. Godavari Power and Ispat, that stock has recovered from the low point of the day. Prakash Industries as well, that stock is more than halved, in fact. That as well is seeing a bit of a bounce, and the metal index on the whole is seeing a bit of a bounce. So I'll be interested to see what is that quantum of the price cut and whether or not, we have the steel ministry that's looking into this, and will there be some kind of protection that will come in there. I'm going to keep my eyes on that. Maybe we'll try to get the steel secretary as well at some point of time and see whether or not, the central government is working to protect the industry, because otherwise it'll get into a bit of a tizzy. You have a lot of capacity that will start coming on stream, and also you have price cuts that are coming about. So that will not be very, very good news.
Absolutely. We will keep an eye out on how the prices in the metals, especially the steel industry, plays out. But talking about prices, let's shift focus now to the cement sector. We understand that all India's cement prices have risen by about 1% month on month in November. So what the outlook is for the cement prices as well as the industry. To discuss this and more, we have Mr. Prasad from NCL Industries, as well as Bina Engineer, the director at Sanghi Industries, both cement companies. We go to Mr. Prasad first. Thanks a lot for joining in. If you could tell us what the cement prices are currently per bag, how do they compare to the average prices in the previous quarter, and how do they compare to the average prices year on year?
Yeah, year on date, we are selling at about wholesale prices are in the range of 270 to 290.
Okay, 270 to 290.
If you compare with so if you compare with the Q2 numbers, they are more or less at the same level.
Okay.
So there was no major change.
All right. So that's about the south, but I think we have all right, we'll get to Miss Engineer in just a bit. Sir, if you could help us out with a couple of details. How much of your sales currently are trade and how much of it are non-trade? And if you could give us the price differential in both these two segments.
Yeah, price differential would be around some 25-30 rupees, trade and non-trade.
Okay.
And as of now, we are selling about 60-65% is going into the trade.
Okay.
And the balance 30-35% will be going to the non-trade.
Okay, so it's a favorable mix then, more amount of your sales and the trade segment.
Correct.
Right. So I wanted a quick question as well. We have a couple of capacities that are coming on stream. I think KCP as well is coming on with their capacity in the similar region where you are operating. Don't you think more supply coming on stream, that will add to competition and it will be difficult for you to increase prices?
Sure, the demand is also improving. At the
same
time, the demand is also very good.
Okay. Yeah. So no price increase till now, but come December, we normally see some kind of price increase. You're expecting it to happen this time?
Yeah. The season has started now. The prices are likely to improve in the next coming days.
By how much?
Maybe another 10-15 rupees.
10-15 rupees. Okay.
All right, 10-15 rupees. So that's as far as the south is concerned. Let's move west now. We have Bina Engineer, the director at Sanghi Industries. Thanks a lot, Bina, for joining in. If you could tell us what exactly are the prices right now. We got to understand that there's no change in the south. Has there been a change in the west? How do they compare with the quarter gone by?
So currently the prices are in the range of about 265-270 rupees per bag realization, and in December probably there should be a marginal hike of another maybe 10 rupees or so.
Okay. How do they compare with the previous quarter?
So about 1 to 2% better, but as such, if you see, the whole first half of this year had about 8 to 10% lower prices compared to the FY18 first half. So from there, they have bottomed out, I would say, and from there they are now on an upward rise.
So that's good news, Ms. Engineer. If you could break it up for us, how much of your sales are trade, how much of it is non-trade as of now, and what's the price differential in the west of the country?
About 60% is non-trade, 40% is trade.
Okay.
West being a more developed market, The non-trade purchases are generally higher, and
Okay.
the price difference is about 10 to 15 rupees.
And you expect to maintain this sort of a mix, or do you expect to get, to move more towards trade?
I think on the whole it would be similar for the rest of the year also.
Okay.
Right. So we'll go back to Mr. Prasad before we take a short break and continue our discussion. Mr. Prasad, you spoke about the prices as far as cement is concerned. If you could tell us a little about costs. Have costs topped out in terms of pet coke as well as imported coal? What are those prices trading at right now?
See, pet coke we are not using. Earlier, we thought of using this pet coke, and we got the permission also now. But this pet coke prices as well as this imported coal prices also have started softening.
Okay.
So as a result, both the prices are at the same level. So we are using imported coal only.
Okay.
If you could give us the number, how much does it trade at right now, and what was it in the previous quarter?
See, earlier we were spending almost 1 rupee 35 paisa to 1 rupee 40 paisa for 1,000 calories, and now it is working out almost 120 to 125.
120 to 125. Okay. All right. Let's do one thing. We'll just slip into a short break. We'll come back. We'll continue our conversation that we're having with Miss Engineer as well as Mr. Ravi. Chartbusters, we have two managements. We're discussing what's the pricing and demand scenario in the northwest as well as in the south of the country. Let's continue that conversation. Miss Engineer, ma'am, I wanted to ask you, you're talking about prices improving marginally and you're sounding optimistic about prices in December. Tell us in terms of margins and EBITDA per ton, what kind of an improvement can we see? Tell us what's your mix currently of lignite and coal, and those prices have dipped. So what does it do to your EBITDA per ton?
So we still predominantly use imported coal because of the either shortage of lignite or poor quality of lignite, etc. So we'll be using around 80-85% of coal in this quarter also. However, the coal prices have come down by at least about 10%, and therefore that along with the strengthening of rupee benefit will ensure that the fuel cost comes down sequentially. Similar impact on diesel also. So freight cost also, there would be, at least there is no further increment, there could only be savings on freight cost. So these are two major factors where we should see cost cooling down.
So you're seeing costs cooling down, Ms. Engineer. Does that mean EBITDA per ton increases in the second half of this year? I think last quarter was around 550.
Yes, there will be a positive improvement in the EBITDA per
By about what,
ton
80 to 100
for the
rupees
second
per
half
ton?
of the year. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to quantify, but it should be in that range.
All right, Ms. Engineer, very quickly, Mr. Prasad was telling us in the south, demand is good. How is the demand in west? Is it looking strong?
It's clearly far better than what we saw at FY18, which was around 4%.
Okay.
The first half of this year, we have seen 15% growth in demand.
Okay.
And the better season is yet to come.
All right, Ms. Engineer, finally, your capacity is going to go from around 4 million tons to 8 million tons. That's on the cards, right, in 2020. Which month should we look at that happening?
In the March, April of 2020.
March, April.
It's very much on track, and we have invested about 40% of the funds into the project.
Okay. All right. On that note, we'll thank both of you all, Mr. Prasad as well as Ms. Engineer. Thank you for joining in. Short point, prices have increased marginally in November, but demand is strong. That's most important. And also, the costs have come off. So the street will be watching out for how these companies report their numbers.